What is public?
What is a public sphere?
What's the European public sphere?
What should the European public sphere look like in the future?
The moment I realized there was a lacking European public sphere was in July 2020, when there was an important meeting of EU leaders to discuss a recovery package of COVID-19.
And we could witness that member states were handling things on a very national scale instead of trying to find a solution together.
Journalists were not talking directly to each other, except in Brussels.
As a citizen, it's very difficult to follow the ever-changing rules. People are extremely anxious.
Having national answers to a European and even a global problem made me realize how little of a European public sphere we have at the moment.
When Hungary and Poland boycotted the next European budget.
Today, we don't know what will happen, but certainly exposed a major divide.
I think we must have faith in progress in Europe. We must have faith in the project.
I would definitely say it's possible to achieve a European public sphere. I think otherwise I wouldn't work on that project.
Sure, it's possible. It's an ongoing process.
Well, absolutely. I think we are in the middle of it already. It's not perfect, and in a way it will never be perfect anyway.
So what does it take to build a European public sphere?
You need to have a strong vision, something that makes you dream, because that's actually what people need.
Of a strong civil society that is vibrant, that is pluralistic, that takes part, that inspires citizens to become active.
There needs to be accessible digital infrastructure.
Europe has to create its own Facebook and Google and better ones.
What we need is a transcendent, transforming media platform where you can make sure that everybody feels at home and at the same time exchange on a European level.
What I think we really need now to have a European public sphere is to realize that a European public sphere is not some kind of pro-European elitist fantasy, but rather the precondition to have democracy in Europe.
So we've decided to divide Daring New Spaces into two parts. First, we start with a diagnosis of the situation, and then we continue with policy recommendations. We first approached experts and practitioners focusing on the topics of civil society, media, culture. Next, we looked for engaged Europeans, for people who are already developing their own projects or have ideas that could be inspiring in building the European public sphere. These are our fellows that now are working to build future visions in three thematic groups. First one dealing with European cooperation, second with European values, and third with European discourses. We also launched a sounding board that also hosts practitioners and experts to help us develop feasible, realistic, but also out-of-the-box ideas. And the final outcomes of the project, the recommendations, the ideas, will be presented in policy papers, as well as clips and videos. We also believe that the German presidency is a perfect moment to launch a project like this, because it can take our ideas and pass it on to further European presidencies and to make it a sustainable process of building a European public sphere. Our vision of the European public sphere in 2025 consists of, most importantly, three pillars: a connected European media landscape, a common and sovereign digital public sphere, and a European culture through shared experience.
The media landscape of the future is much more European than today. Courses on how to report on Europe have become a standard part of a journalist's training. Newsrooms have diversified in many ways. Besides having multilingual staff, it is normal to have a representative for European cooperation in each department. Real-time translator apps make it easy to read or listen to European media content, which, by the way, always reflects multiple perspectives on issues in common.
In 2025, the digital public sphere is sovereign. First, the basic infrastructure to connect is provided. Governments have invested in broadband expansion and high-speed internet. Secondly, there is a digital public sphere. This is a space in which European citizens meet, exchange and debate. It's a European platform. Third, and unfortunately, hate speech, fake news and disinformation have not vanished in 2025. But European and national law regulates much better. Hate crimes are strictly prosecuted and psychological help is available to the victims. The European digital sphere is thus a safer and more constructive space for debate and leisure.
A vivid European culture has evolved through shared, everyday experiences. Ali and Andrew in Stockholm watched the same TV series on a Saturday night at the same time as Nadia and Nigel do in Sofia. EU Crime is a series which rotates between cities across Europe and introduces viewers to particular characteristics of regions. In 2025, there is now a pan-European football, basketball and hockey team. And yes, people still buy fan gear, but in European colors. In the future, students from an early age are encouraged to go on an exchange year to another European country. A core part of military training is to participate in one-year stints in other EU armies or a joint corps.
I think there has never been a better time to try and strive for a European public sphere.
We have to focus more on our values, and that means that we stand a little bit more for sovereignty. And that will contribute to a European public sphere.
We realize the crisis is so big that we will get only out of it in a reasonable shape if we work together.
We've understood how important it is to have a very strong European Union and how important it is that this European Union also is democratic and close to its citizens.
Creating a European public sphere, in my view, is a democratic imperative. It's non-negotiable.
So that's Daring New Spaces. If you want to learn more, please visit the project's website, where you will find policy papers written by our fellows and short clips explaining the main findings of our initiative.